Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Two and a Half Salesmen. I'm your host Mario, together with my partner and co-host Noam, where we talk with today's leaders on what is actually working and what is not working in 2025 and 2026 when it comes to making money slash generating revenue. Noam, how are you,
Hello.
man? How's the weather in Tel Aviv? Any raining missiles?
No, thank God, and no missiles for quite some time. To be honest, that is a blessing.
Knock on wood.
Temperature 70 degrees. Easy
Under
day. Easy day.
Yeah, palm trees, martinis, all of that.
No, no, I don't have the martinis part, but yeah, the rest is there. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So today's guest is my good friend, CRO ChartMogul, Sara Archer. Sara, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Sarah.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is one of the topics Norm and I like to sink our teeth in, and I'll introduce the topic in a few moments. But Sara, for all of our listeners, just introduce yourself, give us a little bit about your background. Kind of how did you end up, from United States in Germany, in a startup no less, and then we'll introduce the topic and dive straight in.
All right, grand, let's go. So my name is Sara Archer. I'm originally from the Washington, D.C. area, but I have called Northwest Germany home for the last nearly a decade, which is shameful because my German language skills aren't quite there. But my career is really characterized by sales leadership and sales operations. I started selling Salesforce implementations in the States to Procter and Gamble and Walmart and Budweiser and big hospitals in the US. And then, I fell in love and had the opportunity to move to Europe in my mid-20s, which, offered the opportunity to work in SaaS and startups, and really basically in helping founders kind of figure out all of the challenging things go to market from a commercial point of view. And so, yeah, I've been at ChartMogul for 7 years. I love SaaS. I love product-led growth. I'm a little bit of a nerdy, like ops sales leader. And so I'm looking forward to this session and kind of digging in.
Yeah, it is the
Beautiful.
fun. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. So how is Berlin different from, I would say,
Washington, D.C. Yeah.
Washington DC? No, 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 no. I'm joking. I'm joking. We don't
But
we
maybe you
don't have to
should
get into that.
maybe you should ask, what's the similarity? It's gonna be a shorter
Yeah.
answer. Yeah.
So
I
the misnomer is I'm in the northwest of Germany. I'm sort of equidistant between Amsterdam and Berlin in a very small city near the Dutch border. And yeah, I've worked with German and European founders for the last like decade, basically. And it brings a lot of the same passion, I think, as American
True.
entrepreneurs. People that want to build meaningful and lasting software companies, they want to work hard, they want to grind, and they're creative people. So I think those similarities exist everywhere. There's definitely an intensity of compliance and like data integrity and GDPR compliance that as an American is like somewhat lost on me to just like pure entrepreneurship and opportunism. But I like to think that I'm kind of a hybrid vigor. Like I like the balance of the American opportunism, but also the German compliance and building like durable companies that are thoughtful about things
Yeah,
like privacy and security. So I try to
yeah.
marry kind of both schools of thought and how I think about business building these days.
Nice, nice. All right. So today's topic is running a CRO motion. So being a chief revenue officer in a PLG slash inbound company that does PLG and inbound specifically for ChartMogul, right?
Yeah.
And I know you've been at the ChartMogul for what, 7, 8 years, something like that, right?
7 years
So
next week. Yeah.
yeah, so you began, sales director, then head of sales, and now CRO. So my first question is, what's changed since you kind of dropped the sales from your title there?
Yeah. I mean, I think as revenue leaders, which, both of you know, one of the most meaningful things you can do is to like lift others up. And so a couple of months back, like I had the opportunity to promote one of our top sellers and, long-term sales reps to director of sales. And he's just crack at it. Like, he's messaging me now because we're trying to close a few deals before the end of October. And so I've yielded control on sales, which I think for a sales leader is not so easy, but when you build the right team and you have the right people, it can work. And so I've turned 90% of my attention to marketing, which Mario, like I genuinely think in a lot of ways is harder than sales. Sales is, yeah, so we can do it. It's a hot take. Sales running the playbook, it's relationship building, it's it's at bats, it's pipeline, generating demand out of thin air, hard, really hard on a competitive internet. And maybe that's because my background's not marketing, but as CRO at like a product-led business that wants to like level up, I would say, yeah, 90% of what I do now is marketing, and it's really hard.
Noam and I, well, we finish every episode with I say go out and sell, and Noam just says just pick up the damn phone.
Pick up the damn phone. Call.
Damn phone. So we both grew up business-wise running full cycle sales. Like we were BDRs, account executives, and we run account management.
Same.
All of the same, right? I rarely had marketing to help me. So I don't, this is maybe, I'll be just a little bit provocative and I'll let you know I'm speak, but I don't know what the fuss is about. To just write a couple of blog posts, put a white paper out, and you're done. Noam?
Well, I couldn't say it more bluntly, but yeah, true. Honest to God, I think that hell, take a look at, I'm speaking from my own experience. Marketing never, ever, ever helped me doing anything. Nothing, none whatsoever. Absolutely nothing, right? On the contrary, they disturbed, right?
Okay.
They disturbed me. They made
it's antagonistic. It's not even like symbiotic. It's just antagonistic.
The simple, I won't go too much about it because there's many questions I'd like to ask you today, Sarah, but just, if Barry got me started, so I can't stop. So the thing is this, every once in a while they're hosting an event, right? Now they get a bunch of leads. This is a multinational. You gotta call them. Leads. You gotta mark them in the CRM. You gotta, right? Leads. Bunch of, people looking for job. Those are the guys. Yeah, those are the leads. So basically, the way I take a look at it is that marketing and I am not very good. We're not very good friends, right? But I think in today's world, and Sarah, you represent, the smarter part of this planet, right? As a chief revenue officer, it's not only sales, it's marketing, it's customer success, it's support, it's the entire
product.
Yeah, it's the entire suite of people handling everything around, the customer. So I am expecting, this call because, I was born about 1,200 years ago, roughly, right? Yeah. So I represent the old school, the very old school in every conversation.
Sure.
I'd love to see, especially where you got, product-led growth, which is absolutely amazing. And starting with that, here's my first question running, to the two of you. And assumes that, a person grows in a very, rough, hard, B2B environment. So you sold implementations of what is it, Salesforce, right? Was it? Yes. This is hard. This is hard. This is hard B2B, right? You have to go.
My first sales job was probably not dissimilar to yours. Like I sat in a big call pit with like 30 people. And the leads were first come, first serve. So I've done the 100 call days too.
Yeah.
And I've cut my teeth on the kind of gnarly, sales environments where like we were arm wrestling over territories.
Yeah.
We were playing board games and trading Mississippi for Tennessee. Like
yeah.
But I guess
I don't miss those days. I don't miss it. I think Noam and I talked about it. Technology has made it a little bit easier for us to do our jobs, but it also made a slew of, I would say, lesser skilled salespeople than the ones that grew up on 100, 150, 200
Cool.
calls
Yeah.
per
2
day.
calls a day. Yeah.
100%.
Right? When my first sales job was, I eat what I kill.
Yep.
I don't have a base. I eat
So,
what I kill.
so
Commission
Mario,
only.
here's the question to the two of you, right? As a chief revenue officer, let's there's the traditional sales B2B business, you have to go there and hunt. You need to be the first, you need to be better if you're with the competition, same as Sarah said. You need to fight your own friends, colleagues within the work for the territory, right? And then let's say you made it as a CRO, so I would call it, for the sake of the argument, traditional CRO, right? And then there's the product level, or PLG, let's say CRO, and there's a different mindset here, right? So it's not sales that are now pushing, they're not the success of the company, it's the product itself. So I would say this is, for me, the first mind shift I'd like to investigate or start our discussion with simply saying, what's this mind shift or shift in mind that a CRO needs to have, do, conduct, run, to be able to even, grasp the challenge that he or she got.
Sure, I can take a stab at it.
Yeah, please.
And to me, it doesn't start from the role of like a revenue leader or like a CRO, but rather a business builder.
Mm,
And so I think like fundamentally demand is really challenging. And so you can brute force demand in like the early era of SaaS. And I think that worked for lots of companies. Even HubSpot, who touted an inbound marketing methodology, had call centers of people that were just hammering the phones. Um,
A
for
lot of people don't know that.
Pardon? Yes,
A lot of people
a lot
don't
of
know
people
that.
don't know that. They thought it was,
Yeah.
and it
It
wasn't
was all roses
it wasn't
and
blogs.
people giving them money freely.
Yeah. And so I think for me, like top line from a business perspective, the business has to have a demand generation strategy. And at ChartMogul, that is product led, right? Which is like, let's build a product that is so remarkable, that is so um, powerful, that delivers on its promise, that CEOs are telling one another, let's use ChartMogul. But for me as a CRO, it's also about combining some of that like sales leadership and sales vigor of like my past life. That's like, okay, great. Maybe the product delivers some demand and we get somewhere between like 600 and 800 free trials every month. But just in the same way that like I was expected to make a cold call 5 minutes from within a lead came in, so is my sales team.
mm,
And so it's like, I don't really want to run a call center of reps making 100 calls a day, but can I encourage them to have the same sort of salesmanship, which I think maybe the both of you would appreciate, to say like you can't be lazy. You're not going to have a BDR do it for you. Your sales engineer is not going to answer the hard technical questions for you. You're going to be full life cycle reps because I'm giving you inbound demand, and I want you just to be the most excellent salespeople you can be, given some of it's sort of served on a platter, which maybe isn't where the group of us started our careers.
No. And just to be clear, PLG doesn't mean build it and they will come. It means that the star of the show is the product.
Yeah.
Right? Like the product will do a lot of heavy lifting that
yeah.
usually the salesperson or the BDRs or account executives do when it's like the outbound sales motion, right? That's the main difference, right?
Yeah. I have
One
a
more.
lot of product-led founders that either have an aversion to sales or a discomfort with sales. And
Yeah.
there's very little products. I mean, you both can probably think very quickly of products that actually are amenable to like a self-serve motion. And there's not very many of them because very few products are as immediately easy to understand, even if you're like a voracious software consumer. Like, how often do you log into a free trial or a software and you're like, oh, I get it. here's my credit card. You do it for
Yeah.
services, maybe fitness,
No takers.
but you don't do it for like Hotjar. You don't do it for like one
Yeah.
password. I mean, maybe you do it for one password. I don't know. But I think especially in Europe, it seems to be like we'll just build a product that's so compelling it sells itself, and it's
No.
bullshit.
No. How about no?
How about no? Yeah,
How
totally.
about no? Okay, so I have a topic, and I know your take, Sarah, because I watched you speak on it on stage. But I'll get Noam in the mix, and Noam will get pissed when we talk about this. Is I know that your data shows clearly that discounts. So when a salesperson actually uses a discount as a sales tactic, slows down the sales cycle. Right? Like I know I heard you say it on the stage.
Yep.
So why do you think salespeople like do that? Especially if they had and I will try to be as blunt as possible, got their lead served on a silver platter for them, and they just need to show up and close it.
It's for me or it's for a gnome.
Well, it's both of you, but you
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
I can start. I can do my defense of the data.
Yeah.
It
Let's do that,
is-
and then we'll have Noam.
Sure. And the beautiful thing about data is there's interpretations, right? So it's aggregated anonymized data from 2,500 SaaS businesses, and we look at sort of the presence of a discount in closing a net new customer and how that impacts basically time to close. And one sort of argument of the data is that the presence of a discount can actually almost indicate a bad fit customer, wherein your sales reps are administering a discount basically to kind of force a customer that isn't an easy close, right? Which is to say, in the case of ChartMogul, like our ICP is B2B SaaS businesses that do somewhere between, let's call it 1 and 70 million in ARR. Occasionally, we get a HelloFresh, we get a DTC subscription box company, and they're like, yeah, we want to use ChartMogul. And we're like, yeah, you're like not a great fit customer. Like, you know, like,
We want to take your money, but are we sure we want to do that?
right. I mean, we do a little hemming and hawing about, we're quite honest, right? We're like, here's the kind of customer we serve. Here's probably what you're missing from the product. And if they say, yes, we're convicted and we want to buy, you know, can we get a price concession? I mean, we're much better about this than we were. But basically, in the presence of discounts, sometimes there's an apprehension to buy, or there's like a lack of stickiness. It's not so obvious. Wherein sort of the presence of a discount is kind of speeding a decision that might not be the right decision for, let's call it a 10-year horizon. But yeah, I don't know. There's nuance to it. At the end of the month or the end of the quarter, sales teams make different decisions in service of targets. So yeah, like I said, there's ways to interpret the data, but no, I'm curious to hear your point.
No, my opinion is that Mario knows that. Fire those guys immediately.
Anyone that discounts, like point.
Anyone who discounts, anyone who anyone who submits a discount needs to be automatically routed to the HR systems. Thanks for your service. Your contract is terminated, and then a security guy will come over and show you the door.
But what about it? What about in certain geographies? So, like, if you sell in certain geographies, where
index your prices,
got
to
it.
begin with. Okay, so
yeah, anchor high, and then
yeah, but okay, so let's let's make it a bit more serious right now. The thing is this: the presence of you said a presence of a discount. The way I take a look at it, professional salespeople. Okay, and I'm calling it professional salespeople. So those would be people that take a look at sales as a profession. They're here to stay.
Sure.
Okay, this is their job. This is not something they
60%
do.
of salespeople
Yeah.
max.
No. There's people there. They went into sales, but a few years later, you will find they're doing something else in sales.
Yeah.
Sales is not for me. So professional salespeople, we have a very limited, I would say, number of, variables that we are able to play with. Most of the time, if we work for a corporate, we're almost have no variables to play with. We have to have we have to look for the perfect ICP, right? We have to do the sale. We have to practice the sale, the discovery. We have to be good at what we do. And there's a process to it. So process is king, same as always, right? So when someone is not yet professional in sales, and it takes years to get to be good at it. Come on, honest to God, let's be honest here. So I would say that some people go to discount because A, there's a process of asking for discounts, submitting discounts requests. B, it's the only thing, obviously the only thing a salesperson can do. Hopefully this will speed up the process. When you say, as you
Well,
said,
they think it speeds up the process. It doesn't. It
yeah,
just serves as this weakness, and they lose the frame.
yeah, but Mario, go back 30 years back. Think of it for a second. It makes sense.
It
It makes
is.
sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I have one variable I can change, which is the price. By the way, if I can give, I don't know, 20, 30 hours of a DBA that will work on site, that's a discount, right? So it doesn't matter how you take a look at it. Discounting is bad. It's bad for your brand. It's bad for you. It's gonna make the sales cycle longer. It's
And
gonna
it's
raise
bad
costs.
for the customer as well.
It's bad for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's bad for everybody. So I think that if you take a look at seniority as you go, throughout the years, you will see that senior people are very, very
They don't.
uncomfortable with, no, they don't
They
want,
don't give a shit.
no, it's like, we don't discount. There's no reason to
No.
discount. Even if customers are asking, there's no reason for me to discount. What's your compelling event for discounting? You're not short of money. There's a product fit. You need it. Everything's good. So what? Are we more expensive from the competition? Yeah, but we're better. That's it. Sign the sorry. Sign the bloody. Okay.
Sign on a dotted line.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go on. Let's have the
No.
implementation people come in and do a wonderful job for you.
Yeah, I don't think I feel as staunch as either of you, but I'm probably in the I'm probably in the same camp, right? So I believe it's the customer's job to ask for a price concession.
Yeah.
When I negotiate, and in my life, I hate negotiating outside of work. My husband and I buy a car. He's like, he's like, do you want to do the negotiation? I'm like, no, 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 no. All I do is negotiation all the time. I negotiate with my reps. I negotiate with my boss. I negotiate with my board. I negotiate with I do not want to negotiate with the used car salesman. Thank you very much. Um, but I sort of firmly believe it's the customer's job to ask for a price concession.
True.
And so like advocate for yourself, like look at the landscape of competition, like tell me, question me. Why am I the premium Cadillac? Why am I priced more than the competitors? Like I should be able to defend that with true salesmanship, with a
Yeah.
true understanding of your customer's needs, with a reason to say, look, here's why my price is defensible. And I'm a big believer that like pricing should be fair and consistent across your customer base. But it is true that like at the enterprise, creme de la creme of like the top, I don't know, 10 to 15% of our customers. And there are a couple of edge cases where we have to look at things a little bit differently and consider some things that require creative thinking with the same sort of precipice in mind, which is like fair is fair is fair. And like nobody in my team is like willy-nilly with discounts, but I do give my reps some pricing power because I think it enables them to have meaningful commercial conversations with their customers. So I think if I was like no holds barred, hey team, and we're a small commercial team, if I was like you have no pricing negotiation power whatsoever, I actually think that would cripple them with their sellers, or with their buyers rather. And so yeah, I guess my stance is slightly different than yours, but
Yeah, well, obviously that's a good point. Well, I represent the very far end, I would say, or the very far
Yeah.
side.
Whenever Norm and I get in a company and we are there to advise or coach and consult, like we've usually seen as enforcers at some point,
yeah.
right? So this kind of goes to that.
No, but I
Yeah.
like that. I mean, when I joined ChartMogul, people were wielding like 40 to 50% discounts. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this isn't a sales problem. this is a pricing problem and like an
Yeah.
ICP problem.
Yeah.
And so the sales team was,
And cultural problem.
yes, yeah. And it was like one of the first things I kiboshed.
Yeah. Love it.
By the way, then, this brings me maybe to the, when I prepared a series of questions for today. Obviously, we're not going to be able to answer a bit of it, right? It's always the case. But from a strategy point of view, pricing is strategy. Pricing is not tactics. Okay, so to be able to have a best fit for your customer with regards to pricing, this is the management, top management, sales management, or sales leadership job. Okay, this is the way I take a look at it. So if you set the pricing correctly, professional salespeople should have no problem, as you said, defending the price, right? But in a PLG company, and I understand that, maybe you're not let's say uh, vanilla PLG company, because you do send you just said so, you do send your salespeople out, go ahead and sell. The matter of fact that leads are coming inbound to you doesn't mean you don't have to go out and sell, which is beautiful. But, and I don't know, so I'm asking, i- in a PLG company, sales have, let's say, I wouldn't call them less important, but they have less of a stage, maybe.
Mm.
Okay, less of a stage. I'm trying to find the right words. Less of a stage as
You're not going to
compared.
offend us.
Okay, no, if you think of it this way, we used to have products to go ahead and sell that nobody wants. So, but you're measured on it and you're compensated on it. So you had to find your ICPs there. You had to go there and, bang the door, kick the window, show up from the toilet, whatever you needed for you to get into the customer's life, and walk your way from disturbing your day to become a leverage. Okay, so you had to do that. But in the PLG, I'm not saying salespeople have an easier time. Maybe, I don't know. Sorry, you'll tell me that. But it is in a regular company, the
Yeah.
sales is the hero of the day. In a PLG, you're somewhere else,
Yeah,
right? So how do you balance that, if that is even a topic?
I think it comes back to my point on demand,
Okay.
right?
Mm.
So like is sales and door knocking and window, someone pops up here and like
That's a bit spooky, yeah. Okay.
that would be a bit spooky, especially as I'm on the third floor. Um, Halloween, nevertheless. Um, and I appreciate a good cold sales tactic, but I think it comes down to like demand generation to some degree. Are our salespeople the hero of the day? Yeah, they're still a revenue generating function. And the difference between a good and a great quarter is our salespeople closing really hard
Mm,
inbound sales deals with, a vigorous procurement cycle and having to check and tick a lot of boxes. For every inbound lead we get, not all of those go to our salespeople because we have a self-serve funnel, and that's a big portion of our business as well. Um, but our sales team is sending individualized Loom videos to every good fit prospect. They're calling
Mm.
every good fit lead within 5 minutes. They're using alerting. So it's different for sure.
okay.
But
Yeah.
I still think it's quite meritorious in the degree that like they have to, and my reps are full life cycle, right? So they still have to have a very strong theory of business. I think what's different for my team in comparison to like where I was in my career, I was like a door knocker and I opened conversations and I was really good at generating pipeline, but I was not so great at closing it. If I was making 100 calls a day, like I at the beginning of my career, I wasn't also negotiating SOWs. Like that came later.
Yeah.
My team's doing all of that.
Oh,
They're
full circle.
opening doors in the way that like they're finding champions, they're demoing product, they're answering integration questions, and they're still doing commercial negotiations. So maybe the
Okay.
PLG like
Yeah.
sales hero of the day looks a bit different. And of course, like I'm defensible of the small cool team that we have.
I
But
yeah. I have a cool story on pricing. I have a good buddy. He works as a sales rep, master seller. Master seller. We grew up, like we began in sales together 20 years ago. and he sells time tracking software. So an inbound comes in, and it's HubSpot. And he gets in a first call, and he tells them, look, guys, down the line, when I tell you what the pricing is, that's the best and final that I can give you. I won't be negotiating on pricing 1 month or 2 months. Like, we'll go through all this, hoops and demos and talking to different people and licensing and procurement, all of that. But when it comes to pricing, what I give you is A. So then he runs the process for, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months, and they comes to negotiate about pricing. He says this is 30,000 euros for 1 year for I don't know how many licenses, right? Like a shitload of licenses. And then they say, oh, that's too much. We'd like a 20% discount. The first reaction of his head of sales and the CEO was, give them the discount, give them the discount. And my guy says, whoa, 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 gentlemen, professional working, come on. There's not going to be a discount. Like, but we will lose them. We will not going to lose them. And he goes back and says, hey, we've agreed, and you agreed, that when we negotiate our pricing, that's our best and final. Can you tell me what is happening now? Or you don't want this anymore. So he takes it off the table. And they say, oh, no, okay, 30K is fine.
Is perfectly fine.
Because 30K mattered so much to HubSpot.
But the gut reaction of the head of sales and the CEO, the owner of the company, CEO, same thing in this case, was give them the discount. We don't want to lose them. And my guy being master sales, right? He says, whoa, 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 gentlemen.
Yeah, but I think that like, if we're talking master sales, the skill set that I find missing, the skill set that I find missing is like champion building, in a very interpersonal sense, where it's like, and probably some sales cycles I've run, I'm not great at this, and now I'm thinking of like 16 of them, but the feeling where it's like, hey, I need a 20% discount for this to close between now and the end of October, and the moment where you're like, wait, we talked about this, like, I'm surprised, why are you saying this? Like the sort of Columbo, like, surprise, like, objection handling, like that kind of interpersonal relationship, I think
it's for me, and I am very firm with Noam, it's the attitude, it's how you frame it, and it's how you run the entire process that in the end will result. If you're negotiating from a weaker position, like he just the lesson there is he was negotiating from a position of strength. They needed it.
But Mario, think of it this way. I'd love to take.
But he did his job properly, right?
No. I agree. But think of it this way, and being conscious of the time, I'd like to approach some let's say a question.
Other topics than discount that we spent last 30 minutes talking about. This is Sarah. This is always what fucking happens. That Noam and I get stuck on one single topic, and then we just drain the shit out of it.
But think of it again this way: you got so much to do. You need to take the MEDDIC methodology. So you need to work the metrics and the economic buyer and the rest of the stuff, right? So whatever methodology you have to do all of this. Pricing is the only thing that you can come back in and say, looking backwards to your management, say, I need a discount, as if that will do. That's the only thing you can do when you're left out of options. So the attitude of this guy, your friend, was, hey, we talked about this. That's the fair value of our product, right? So if you can't justify your fair value, then originally you didn't price it correctly. As simple as that. Or it doesn't have a fit.
Let's have one more topic, please, because this is again turning into like Norm and I always say like we will have like 35-minute conversation on these, and then we end up just talking 1 hour.
No, yeah, but
every single time.
I'd like to take the angle of something I experienced very painful, to be very painful. Even though I worked for a multinational that was very strong with having lots of data and internal portals for managing customers, like they call it the 360. I worked for Oracle for a decade and a half, so they had this 360 engine where me as a salesperson, doesn't matter, sales rep, whatever, a customer facing individual within the company, I could tap into this 360 and I could see everything, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, it was not that good from a technological point of view. The data was not accurate. There was so many things missing. It wasn't working very well back then. But without this, it's sometimes you're going into, let's say, the battlefield, right? You're going to the sales battlefield, and you're not fully equipped with everything you need to know, especially when you're working with organizations. There's like 100 salespeople around the planet tapping to the same person selling different products in different territories, but the same company, right? So
Sure.
my question is, and I think that this was about 100 years ago, so data is better right now, systems are better right now, but, and again, maybe it's me misinterpreting, what I read, but the way I see it, PLG companies are far better with having sustainable, I would say, one point or source of truth in terms of data to
Yeah.
be able to work. So how do you guys go about that? And personally, how do you personally see this as a strategy, tool for you?
Yeah. Okay, fair. So I like this question because I have that like Salesforce ops background.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
I don't believe in source of truth. Let's
Okay.
start there. Which is, I think Salesforce did a really successful job selling us this lie of our CRM is the source of truth.
Yeah.
And they made a lot of money on that claim. And for very few businesses is that true. PLG businesses definitely require a really strong RevOps infrastructure, especially because it's a noise to signal ratio. So, like, by example, I have a customer, they get 110,000 signups a month.
Mm.
90% of those are free mailers, so they're not actual businesses. And their small commercial team needs to suss out what should I pay attention to? What should I act on? What should require sales attention or intervention? And so I think PLG businesses, sort of by very nature, are required to have like really strong revenue operations discipline early on. And in my experience, the very best revenue operations teams are willing to say what's not possible. So, like with our team, for example, marketing attribution. I'm interviewing for a marketing role right now, and I tell people all the time, I say our RevOps stack is the best stack I've ever worked with. Our marketing attribution is probably only 70% of the way there. You've got
Mm.
dark web, you've got Slack channels. You don't know where some of your leads are coming from, but you have to, have sense directionally and enough data to sort of back up your point of view. And for sales teams specifically, like I only need to arm them with the data points that make them powerful and capable in their conversations. And that's not precise answers to every Salesforce field.
Okay.
That's more paralyzing than helpful, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
Last question, and I am conscious of the time. So I remember from one of your talks that you are, the HubSpot bow tie.
Sure.
I think you mentioned that, but for PLG, it's coming from the beginning, which is when you actually get a lead in, and
Okay.
then all the way to call it whatever you want to call it, right? Retention or client success or renewal or whatever, right?
Sure.
So when you look at that entire journey, what do you see other PLG companies doing wrong?
Nice one.
What do I see other PLG hiring sales too late?
Oh,
That's like where my brain goes immediately. I think a lot of founders that I meet have super sellable products and they're scared of managing salespeople. They're scared of managing salespeople out. They're scared of administering sales comp plans. And none of those things are scary. Like salespeople should make you money or they should move on. So that's where my brain goes first.
I like the answer, Maria, especially because you and I met
oh, we did.
in such a company, right?
Yeah, yep.
Where exactly what Sarah said happened.
How was that?
100% of it.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, salespeople are a bit difficult, wouldn't you agree?
A bit.
Eh, not to me.
No, but think,
But
there's
I'm like the players coach, right?
Okay.
So when if I get a team, if I manage a team, I'm one of them, like kind of I'm one of the sales guys, and I know what they're going through, and I can understand, and then I am the one who will give them the most shit if they ask a wrong question, if they didn't ask this in discovery, if they skip a step, if they do this, and they appreciate it because I am on their side. I want to make them better, right? And I've been where they are, right? The players coach.
no,
So
but that doesn't happen when you have let's say a very enthusiastic entrepreneur building a wonderful product, right? Have zero
especially if he or
experience,
she is in love with the product and he
but
calls
they
it my baby.
yeah, but they don't know what to do with salespeople. And by the way, so
No,
we won't talk about the company that we met, right? It's
no.
it's not appropriate. But we can talk about another company that I'm being busy with just lately. Three salespeople were phenomenal salespeople. One lady, I think, was probably one of the best salespeople I've seen for quite a while
And that's saying something.
in the same company. Three of them were fired because it's too problematic to manage. They're but they're good. Honest to God, they're good. So it's becoming a management problem rather than anything else.
In the end, we come down to what John Maxwell said, and he said it like 30 years ago. And everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yeah.
And it's been true for thousands of years, when you were born, and it's correct.
No, I was already
You
200 years
see,
back
I
then.
gave it a shout out. You see, I remembered. I remembered.
Well, if you can bear with one more question,
Yeah.
what challenge or idea would you have for me as the CRO of a product-led business? Like, what would you say? Hey, Sarah, don't forget these
Oh,
OG sales tactics or sales leadership. Where would you pressure test me?
I know where.
I would go for alignment. I think that's the hardest, possibly the hardest. And again, I simply think that in PLG, same as maybe in private equity, I think that sales, marketing, customer success, all different, let's say, departments within sales, like development, sales development or whatever,
Yeah.
and then account executives, and then account managers, and whatever, TOMs and stuff like that. So I think that alignment in PLG, A, is so important. B is simply as hard as any other company, right? So because we're talking about human beings, but I think that alignment is probably the hardest I've seen or experienced, maybe, but I might be wrong. So I would say, hey, Sarah,
No.
be conscious of the fact that, alignment is key. And you'll probably say back, yeah, I know, no, tell me about
No, it's good. It's good. I'm doing a
Uh,
company presentation on Tuesday about like new marketing initiatives and it's a good note.
it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I earned my
yeah.
bread for today, guys.
You were faster than me, man. I would say the same thing. The main job of the CRO is alignment, aligning marketing, sales, client success, and product. Most CROs miss the feedback loop between product to marketing and then client success to product. So
Yeah.
those feedback loops. I would say, especially now that this is your first CRO engagement and you coming from the sales side of it, right?
I
So
know.
Yeah.
it is different, and I am happy for you, and I'm happy that you find marketing very, very difficult, because it's not easy coming from a sales background,
Yeah.
like trying to figure out what the hell management does in a PLG. But I would say brush up on two things. One, and they have nothing, they have everything to do with being a CRO, and then they have nothing to be running CRO.
Yeah.
So first is systems building, or systems thinking rather. There is a whole lot of scholarly literature on this. So I would say system thinking. And then second, whatever you do, whatever processes and feedback loops and everything you create, make sure to pressure test them on first principles. So always go back to first principles.
Sure.
Because we have a tendency to complicate things. Adding this and putting this here and this there and this part here, and then we forget what is actually important. And that's always go back to first principles. That's my kind of main message here.
Cool. Okay, good. Well, stuff to sleep on for sure. Yeah, I have a lot of moving parts, but I'm really enjoying
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. Okay, so any last words, anything you want to plug?
ChartMogul.com, sign up for a 14-day trial. If you're looking to track SaaS metrics, what are you doing?
What the hell are you waiting for? ChartMogul.com. Go there yesterday.
No, teasing. I mean, we also have like good benchmark data and good content. So no, but you all are gracious for having me on. And
I love it. I love it. I
is,
love the fact that it took you a split of a second to boom, to hard sell it.
Like,
Yes.
not hard.
like hard sell. Let
I love
shovel
it. I love it.
over the face.
Yeah,
Love
I
it.
love it.
Love it. Just went into pitching mode immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, as is my nature. But no, truly, I mean.
No, we love that. That's the salesperson coming raw from you. Like, I love that.
If there's anybody that's struggling with like PLG sales leadership or infrastructure, like I'm happy to be a sparring partner or a sounding board. It's not easy building a long business, and that's why we do this kind of stuff, right, guys?
True.
Yeah. All right. So everyone, thanks for sticking. Sarah, thank you so much for being our guest. This was a lovely show, lovely episode. Noam, brilliant as always, I would say.
That's easy. That comes very natural to me. Yeah.
I know. Well, after you live for 1,200 years, it should.
No, Noam's actually a vampire.
Or just an old guy. Yeah.
Just a very old guy.
Yeah.
And to everyone listening, again, thank you for joining the 2.5 Salesman podcast. And as always, go out and sell something.
Pick up the phone, guys.
Ciao, ciao.